Over in Nepal, they were hit with an earthquake earlier this week that's 7.8 on the Richter scale, which is pretty damn strong. And if you've ever been in an earthquake, which I have not, being in Wisconsin, I have no idea what that would feel like. But they've had
You should vote for fracking in Wisconsin, and you get to experience all the earthquakes you want.
Yeah, well, Wisconsin has had some earthquakes. This last winter, we had some tremors in weird locations. Nobody knew what they were at first, but turns out they were some minor earthquakes. But fortunately for me, they were nowhere near where I was. So that's the closest thing I've ever had to being an earthquake. Is just one in my state. So, but anyway, the earthquake has claimed over 6,000 lives, 6,200 and some odd lives actually, and so far, and they've are still over 1,000 people who are missing from the quake there. One of the things is here that, well, it was reported anyway, that some Bibles were supposedly emergency shipped out to Nepal because of this earthquake, which turns out not to be true. The Gideons have Bibles literally shipped everywhere in the world already. So the fact is that the story that you're seeing out there about that, totally fake. The fact is that the Gideons are actually still shipping out Bibles is just obscene to begin with, but that's just my opinion. Anyway, getting back to the Nepal earthquake here, it's passed over 6,000 people, 6,260 fatalities, with about 1,400 people who are injured and thousands who are still unaccounted for. They did find a kid who apparently had been buried underneath the rubble, and he was like 18 years old. And the fact is that he survived there for like 5 days, and the last 5 or 6 days. And
was it a teenage boy or was it a woman?
No, from what I understand, it was a teenage boy.
Okay.
Well,
yeah.
There was both a woman and a boy.
Because I heard about the woman I think she was in the palace or something, or a large building.
Yeah.
And she was in there for 5 days. That's incredible to survive something like that.
Yeah. And this guy here, he says he was buried for 5 days under the building that had pancaked. He just dodged death because of a motorcycle that had shielded him from the pressure of the concrete and steel, according to the website here.
Damn.
And then he turns around and says that he survived by good faith. Bullshit! You survived because a fucking motorcycle just happened to be sitting there.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I don't. These people who attribute their survival while thousands of people around them died, that's not a fucking miracle. If it'd be a fucking miracle if nobody had died and everybody walked away, that'd be a miracle. This is not a miracle. I'm sorry, it's not a miracle. Anyway, there had been several other people who had also survived from the rubble here. There was a 27-year-old man on Tuesday and a 4-month-old boy on Sunday. The Nepal military released photos of an 11-year-old girl said was rescued Wednesday after being 90 hours under the rubble. And that's not even the worst of it. There's a pastor. He's a self-styled preacher anyway. He suggested the Nepalis should not rebuild their pagan shrines. Instead, they should instead convert to Christianity. He tweeted this out to CNN. He says, "Praying for lost souls in Nepal," which means he's doing nothing but, stroking his own ego. "Praying for not a single destroyed temple will be rebuilt, and the people will repent and receive Christ." Asshole.
That's a great thing to say during a human tragedy.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Don't worry about your temples. Fuck your temples. Fuck your beliefs. Just you should get in with my beliefs.
This happened because of gay marriage in Mississippi, man.
Yeah.
I think I've seen that too.
This guy, he's Tony Mayano, and he was talking about this. The guy's a fucking asshole. I'm sorry. I don't care what your religion is. If you go around saying that somebody else's religion should die in favor of your religion, then you know what? Then you're just a fucking asshole. Especially in a matter of a human tragedy. You don't see atheists out there going, "Yeah, you know what? Because you believed in your God or anything, that's why your buildings came down." I don't see that. I've never seen that. I don't say shit like that. Kind of your thoughts?
This street preacher Tony Marino, he spent like 4 years working with Ray Comfort He's an ex-cop in LA, and now he has his own ministry. Yeah, I can't believe he, well, no, I can. I can believe people would say crap like this. And it's totally lacking any kind of compassion or empathy.
Yeah.
What's really sad is a lot of these buildings were historic sites. They were, and they probably would, even if you rebuild them, it's not going to be the same. They were really beautiful, So, and back to how many people have died. An army chief has said that the Quake death toll might reach 15,000 people.
Really?
There's so many villages that are just completely gone, and remote places that are really hard to get to. I guess that some of the construction, the worst collapses were because they were brick buildings that were really hastily made. They weren't, reinforced.
Right.
So, yeah, that's why we have such a high death toll with this. And then I hadn't even heard. Has anybody else heard what's happened with the hikers up on Mount Everest?
That was rough.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything more on that. One of the other thing is up in Nepal, these people literally are mountain people. I mean, there are very few roads going between the cities out there. I mean, the whole country is about the size. One of the states here in the United States, I forget which one it is. I heard it this morning. I've completely forgotten which one it is, unfortunately. But it's not that large. However, because like I said, because they are so spread out and they're literally out in the fucking mountains there, that getting rescue people and workers out there is very difficult. If you're thinking about making a trip out there to help out, please don't. They don't need more people out there fucking around with things that they don't understand. Especially people, your intentions may be good, but don't go. Send money. Money will do more for them than you being there, because you're just going to cause more chaos because you don't know what's going on. Joe, your thoughts?
Yeah, Nepal is a very Hindu country.
Yes.
And up until probably, I think it was like 2003 or something, it was the last Hindu monarchy on the planet. And the royal family died tragically in this mass murder / coup. Something went on over there, and
I heard about that.
So, and so since then they've been in the government's been kind of like, they don't have a constitution, but they did have elections, and they elected kind of a government in place. But the government's very poor. They don't have a lot of resources. So for this to happen to them, it was just really, really, really bad.
Yeah.
Now, they're a majority Hindu country, and people say like, oh, God will protect us. Well, the Hindus have thousands of gods, and thousands of gods couldn't protect them from this. And if you compare a country like Nepal to a country like Japan suffers severe earthquakes all of the time, but they use science to reinforce their buildings. And their buildings are very strong, and they're very earthquake resistant. And when they suffer earthquakes this strong or stronger, they don't have this kind of death toll.
Right.
Yeah.
But in Nepal, the buildings were made very cheaply, very weak. They were not made for earthquakes. And so that's why we're seeing numbers. They're saying, last I saw was like 6,000.
Yeah.
6,000 dead. Maybe it might
Confirmed.
go up to 10,000. Some of these villages that were demolished were in remote regions.
Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's just really, really, really rough.
Dawkins Doc from the chat room says, one of my favorite lunatics on Facebook said, because Nepal doesn't worship God, he lifted his hand of protection and allowed Satan to cause the earthquake. I thought God was in control of everything.
Well, and here's where science, really, do they really think that that's what causes earthquakes?
Yeah, I think they do.
In the century that we live in, are they really going to try and say that? It's
exactly. And yet,
yeah.
Touching on what Packard was saying before, if God is responsible for natural disasters against people he doesn't like, then how come tornadoes demolish churches across the Midwest?
Yes.
Yeah.
I guess
and,
it is.
you know, and they point to hurricanes on like the Gulf Coast or earthquakes in San Francisco, and they say, well, that was gay marriage. But the tornadoes are ripping down churches all across Oklahoma, Tennessee, you know.
God doesn't like those churches because the pastor had his fingers in the altar boys. That's, you know.
Yeah, it's just crazy.
It's like when you're building on your hurricane thing there, and Pat Robertson is one of those fucktards that said that, you know, that it's because of the gays that this hurricane wiped out the whole state or whatever, you know. So I'm thinking, okay, so God can't pinpoint anything. He has to mass destroy the whole place because he can't figure out how to hit one little spot. I mean, I'm just a plain human, right? But I can still hit a fucking single key on a keyboard with some accuracy. And it's not like it's really huge, right? It's not. It's pretty small compared to me. But I can still hit a little tiny key on a keyboard, even if it's on a little tiny screen, like my little iPhone here. I can still hit little tiny keys. So if God can't do that, he's fucking stupid. I'm just saying.
It's almost like natural disasters are God's form of drone strike.
Yeah.
like
drunken drone strike.
It's kind of accurate, not really. Sometimes, yeah, no idea.
It's like
no idea what we're going after here. Whoopsie daisy.
Oh, it's like a drunken Scud missile attack.
I was say, oh, looks like their Patriots don't work either. I'm going to put in the chat room a resource that I found. If you want to research, you know, charities to make donations for the earthquake, I found a website that kind of, you know, that goes through them and vets them out and says exactly what they do, you know, what their emphasis is. And it should lead you to that. That's part. I don't know what it says after Nepal earthquake. There was some more. I think it was like Nepal earthquake 2015. So,
okay, I'll read the link out here. It's blog.charitynavigatorblog.org/Nepal-earthquake. So just Google that. Joe, I'm sorry. Did you have anything else you wanted to add to that?
I did, but I don't remember any of it.
I'm sorry.
I was touched by the finger of Ganesha. Said stop talking shit about Hinduism and Hindu countries, so I've since forgotten it.
Apparently. Okay.
You say, while you're touching me, could you give me a massage right there? My neck's kind of sore.
Yeah, my neck's a little sore. Can you touch that spot there, please? Thank you.
Oh, hell yeah. I'm totally becoming a Hindu now.